What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, back at y'all with another one. So, I hear a lot of people complaining, a lot of people demanding to see the pound for pound king, the undefeated 4-division world champion, 2-division undisputed world champion, reigning WBA junior middleweight world champion, superstar, first ballot Hall of Famer, Terence "Bud" Crawford, who is 41 wins, no losses, no draw, 31 wins by way of knockout. He is 37, going on 38 years of age in September, and that's Terence "Bud" Crawford. To fight the phenom, as I refer to him as, an undefeated, newly crowned, unified WBA, IBF, Ring Magazine, welterweight, undefeated world champion, superstar boxer, Jaron Boots Ennis. Jaron Boots Ennis is now 34 wins, no losses, no draws. He is 30 wins by way of knockout. He is 27 years of age. He is 5'10" with a 74-inch arm reach. Bud Crawford, 5'8" with a 74-inch arm reach. A lot of similarities. That's what got the hype between Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis to begin with, because they both switched from southpaw to orthodox. Although I will beg to differ today's time, they're both predominantly southpaws. They're not orthodox fighters. They will give you orthodox looks every now and then, maybe a minute out of a round, but for the most part, they are southpaw fighters. Again, they'll give you the look of orthodox every now and then, but they are predominantly southpaw fighters. I think that Terence Crawford, maybe 3 times in the fight with Israel Majimov, his last fight, August of last year, he was orthodox. In this fight with Amanda Stanionis this past weekend with Jaron Boots Ennis, he was orthodox maybe 6 times, right? But he didn't stay there for longer than a minute. With that said, people are demanding to see this fight. And I'm with you. I want to see this fight too. But unfortunately, like Sugar Ray Leonard stated at that banquet with Marvin Hagler, and he said, everybody wants to see me fight Marvin Hagler, but unfortunately, it'll never happen. Here's the situation. Unfortunately, it'll never happen. And more importantly, it had the opportunity to happen. I know people are saying and blaming Terence Crawford. And once again, I'm going to reiterate this. There was a moment after Terence Crawford beat David Avanesian and the negotiations fell through with Errol Spence Jr. and Terence Crawford was looking for a fight. Terence Crawford was willing to fight Jaron Ennis. Showtime president of sports, Steven Espinosa, was unwilling to make the fight happen. He was unwilling to make the fight happen. I was on the phone. He was unwilling to make the fight happen. That year, he stated that the lineup that they had, obviously, right, Showtime being a bigger network than BLK Prime at the time, right? He says, who's going to bump off their schedule? They had David Benavidez coming up. They had Gervonta Tank Davis coming up. They had Canelo Alvarez coming up. If you don't believe me, all you got to do is look at the schedule. David Benavidez fought in March. Tank Davis fought Ryan Garcia in April. Canelo fought in May. And then he stated, with or without Terence Crawford, Errol Spence will be fighting in June or July. So the schedule is just not permitting it. And Terence Crawford wants to fight ASAP, seeing as though he fought against David Avanesian, I believe it was November or December, right? He wanted to get back in the ring. He was willing, more than willing, to make the fight happen. Jaron Ennis did not have an advanced opponent. There wasn't a fight available for him. And Steven Espinosa was unwilling to make the fight. Period. Okay? That was the point. And then Jaron Ennis, as I stated, he could have made himself the mandatory for the WBO. He chose to go the IBF route with Errol Spence. Rightfully so. I understand. Errol Spence had 3 belts, the WBA, the WBC, and the IBF. And he was the bigger name, the bigger draw, the bigger seller. Terence Crawford had 1 belt, which was the WBO. So he went the IBF route. Why? Because He was with Showtime and Showtime President Sports, Steven Espinosa, and Cameron Duncan, Errol Spence, which with obviously the premier boxing champion, better known as the PBC, with founder and advisor Al Heyman. Okay, so they were doing business together. They was on the same side of the street. That's the route. And then Steven Espinosa, he stated simply he did not want to stand in the way of making Errol Spence and Terence Crawford. He did not want to be a roadblock. He didn't want to look like the bad guy because obviously the fight would have been aired on Showtime, right? And BOK Prime. But obviously Showtime is the bigger network, which means if he made the fight and let's say Jaron Ennis won the fight, that stands in the way of Al Heyman, Errol Spence, and their money and the plans, which is Errol Spence and Terence Crawford, which they wanted to box Terence Crawford in, not giving him any options. Imagine if he had the option of Jaron Boots Ennis and beat Jaron Boots Ennis. You understand? They didn't want to give him options. They wanted to box him in to force him to have to take what they wanted to give him to fight Errol Spence. He was a network promotional free agent. So we had the opportunity for that fight to happen. Shouts out to my brother Two Tone, the superstar, because I see he was also upset. And people send me that clip where he was like, nobody asked for Canelo and Terence Crawford. Well, Terence Crawford is looking to bolster his legacy at this point. He's at 154. Jaron Ennis says that he's staying at 47 to collect the belts. That's another thing. Bud went to 154. Okay. Also, Canelo Alvarez is a legacy fight and a massive payday for Terence Crawford. It's a historic opportunity. It's an opportunity for Terence Crawford to become undisputed in 3 separate weight classes and become a 5-division champion, jumping up from 154 to 168 and only having one fight at 154 to beat arguably the best fighter at 168. No, it's no argument. He is, because David Benavidez has left the division. So I understand that people want to see Terence Crawford and Jaron Ennis because I was the one that lobbied for it. I pushed for it. But at the end of the day, again, as I say, the opportunity was there and Steven Espinosa wasn't willing to make the fight happen. He did not want to stand in the way of Errol Spence and Terence Crawford blocking Al Heyman. He didn't want to upset Al Heyman and Errol Spence. He didn't want to do it. That's not Terence Crawford's fault. That's not Jaron Boots Ennis' fault. It is what it is. And Terence Crawford is looking to bolster his legacy. So unfortunately, it's not going to happen because Terence Crawford go to 168. Now, he says he's leaving the door open to come back to 54. I highly doubt it. At 38 years of age, to come back down to 54, I just don't see it happening. But anything is possible. Who knows? But let's see how this unfolds and plays out. But that's all I got for y'all. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. I'm gone. Peace.